is guarding Bryant. Artest looking, gets it to Bryant. Bryant dribbling, has to put it up with the buzzer. Banks it in! Oh, he banks in the three! And the Lakers win the game!
Good morning, Syndicate members. What's happening, man? It's Wednesday. That's right.
Let's go.
That means it's 9 a.m. and we're live here in Austin, Texas, right from Syndicate headquarters, baby. My name's Tony Merwin, the co-host. That dude over there is the Jolly Ginger Giant, the king of Facebook groups, and the king of trucking insurance, Mr. Joseph Campert.
What's going on, everybody? Good morning. Good morning. Super excited to have our guest on the show today. You guys probably saw me hint a little bit at it. And that's actually, I'll just get right into it. Well, hold on. Before I get right into it, make sure, and again, let StreamYard view your comments if you haven't already. It is up in the description of the show. Again, we're super excited to have everybody on. I hope y'all are all having an amazing start to your weeks. And so that's kind of my weekly win. I've been on this this content kind of creation recently. And I say content creation more of like course specifically. So that's been something you guys obviously saw. So anything truck. So, well, it's called Everything Trucking Insurance. Released that with Elle and David Denning. That was awesome. It was a lot of time and effort to go into that. Right. But then now I've just kind of, I don't know, man. It's like I'm kind of starting to get into this whole kind of course creation and really leveraging, not maybe speaking just to a lot of what I do is individual coaching. And don't get me wrong, that's, I got my heart for my people. But really, again, leveraging just the course itself to be able to more kind of approach masses and speak to the masses. So that's been kind of my weekly win. That is a little bit more difficult. I love live shows like this where I get to interact. You guys get to drop your comments. And for anybody watching this, again, make sure to drop your weekly win in the comments. We want to celebrate you. We want to get you up on the show. And but again, that's my weekly win, is being able to look and stare at a screen and talk to yourself for hours is really what it is. I always love the engagement and the interaction in the comments. So it's not for the faint of heart. It's not always the easiest. I don't always do it on the first take. But that's definitely my weekly win, is just, hey, let's get in the office and let's record some really, it's education and value, right? It's what one of the main themes of this show. It's one of the main themes of the group, right? Is just to really, again, help educate and share, where other people can find success. And a lot of that comes from, you don't know what you don't know. Right. And so I think that, again, is also the value of the course of, man, hey, now at Tony, you've been in longer than I have. Back then, it used to be like, best of luck, pal. Right. Like nowadays, it's like, hey, I can just go buy a course for $100 and it's going to tell me literally any and everything I need to do to find success in whatever you're buying the course for. So that's definitely my weekly win. I know you were on the road yesterday. Well, I guess it was 2 days ago. So how was the road show? How was 8%?
It was really good, man. We had a good time. A lot of great speakers up there as usual. Cody's outstanding at putting together great people. Truthfully, like that's definitely a skill set that he's mastered, is getting a lot of very strong people into a room. And he certainly did that. So he called me Monday. I was actually having lunch with you. Called me Monday and said that somebody Wally pipped him and he needed an extra speaker and asked if I could run up to Dallas and help out. So it worked out great because we were able to grab your new guy, Todd, of course. Mm-hmm. Took Todd up there and exposed Todd to some of that action and kind of opened his mind up a little bit to more of what's available in the insurance industry, what people are doing, et cetera. He was able to connect with some PNC guys, some life insurance for trucking guys, all kinds of stuff. So it was a great event all in all. So we had a good time. And I would say that's definitely my weekly win, is to get to go up there and rub shoulders with the likes of John Wetmore and Cody and Chris Bryan and some of those other killers that were up there. Sam Wolf was in the house. Like it was a good
Dr.
time,
Billy
man.
Williams.
Dr. Billy Williams, dude, that guy. And he sat down. He sat down and kind of took us to church. Like everybody, when they spoke, they were either on the stage or standing up. He grabbed the chair, sat in the middle of the audience, just sat down and started talking real. And then he was actually my biggest takeaway from the event, because he talked about, so there's 4 things you have to run and grow your organization. 4 things. First, you got to have processes. You have to have technology to implement those processes. You need automation to increase the efficiency of those processes. But ultimately, those processes should all support the 4th element, which is your people.
Yep.
You need people to finish it off, close the deals, make money, and grow the business. But you got to have those 4 elements in that order. And the one really thing that I loved about him talking about processes was that he explained how processes lead to your culture in your business.
Yes.
If you don't have your processes documented, this is the way we make phone calls. This is the way we do follow-ups. This is the way we do retention, whatever it is, that leads to culture in your business.
Yep.
And I had never 100%. Heard it put that way, and made sense and resonated with me immediately. So that was my biggest takeaway for sure. And it was cool because I felt like when he was saying a lot of that, it was also reinforcing. So I'm like, all right, I'm doing some of that. Okay, cool. I've got processes in place that I'm building. I've definitely got technology, and I'm using automation constantly, and I'm building people. So looks like I'm on the right track.
Well, and for anybody that doesn't know who Dr. Billy Williams is, go ahead and look him up. But I'm pretty sure he either owns or is part owner, has ownership stake in like over 60 different.
No. You're not even close.
So sorry, it's the 60 million.
Yeah. He owns 160 different agencies, or has ownership in 160 different P&C agencies. He talked about that in quite depth, but he sat down and just looked at us. He goes, all right, my name is Dr. Billy Williams. I am the OG of insurance.
Exactly.
And then broke it down, talked about his history. It was awesome.
I love that.
That was a really good talk.
Real quick too, before we bring on our guest, you used the word ultimate. So I've got a couple shout outs. You guys obviously see Alex Sala commenting below. Ultimate Agent dropped last night. So if you haven't, go check it out. It launched on Cody Askin's YouTube channel. Most of y'all probably have seen Cody on YouTube. He's got hundreds of thousands of freaking subscribers. But Ultimate Agent dropped. I got to watch it. I actually called the guys late last night. I was like, yo, I had to watch it. And then I called them. They did a crazy agent challenge and then had to get out in the field, and we're door knocking and calling and selling policies and everything, even just in the first day in like rural Missouri, right? Like, I mean, you're in Springfield, Missouri. So shout out to you guys. They run our Friday Fuel show, but just wanted to pump you guys up. If you haven't, make sure and go check it out. It's basically a reality TV show for insurance agents. So shout out to you guys. And then last but not least, our sponsor of Winning on Wednesday, Viva Virtual Solutions. You can see here even how the comments are going up on the screen. That is from our virtual assistant, who is also our producer of these shows, as well as the YouTube, the TikTok, the Instagram, all that good stuff. Obviously, that's just one little thing that Viva can do and provide a solution for. But we use them for trucking. We use them for accounting and commissions. Like, we have all kinds of virtual assistants through Viva. So shout out to Rob Lopez and everything that they're doing over at Viva. We appreciate your sponsorship. So with that being said, I'm actually super excited to have my boy Dalin on. I actually just got to connect with him. It's funny. I hit him up because I know he's got, of course, I was doing a short-term rental course, and I hit him up actually and was like, yo, do you have an Airbnb, or where's your Airbnb? Is it close to Fountain Hills? And I was out in Arizona. He goes, dude, the only reason that I ever hear anybody talk about Fountain Hills is because they're going to see Andy Elliott. I said, well, actually I am. But then we were able to connect that Sunday after the training. We were talking some shop. And that's part of one of the course pieces that I've kind of implemented, that I'm going to be a part of that. But I'm super excited to have him on. I was like, yo, dude, we got to get you on the show because he's just doing amazing things. So without further ado, guys, give a nice warm welcome to my buddy Dalin in the comments. What's going on, brother?
What's going on, guys? Thanks for having me.
Definitely, man. Good to have you on the show. I like that cap.
Thank
you.
Cool
looking LA Dodgers cap. I like that. All right.
Yeah, I think he is too after the past week.
Yeah.
It's funny. I became a Dodgers fan. So I grew up in Idaho, and I became a Dodgers fan simply because I liked the LA logo. So as a kid growing up in Idaho, for the longest time, I didn't even know it was the Dodgers. I was just like, man, that LA logo is really cool. And I spent some time living in the Bay Area, and I would get so much shit for this hat. And
Yeah,
I just had to tell people sometimes, I'm like, to be honest with you, I just don't like the Giants logo on a hat as much as I like the Dodgers logo on a hat. But go Dodgers! So I ended up being a Dodgers fan just because of the aesthetic of the logo. So I'll defend
right
them.
on, man. I like it. I
Well,
like it. Well, again, it's definitely good to have you on the show. Joe speaks really highly of you, and you're a little maybe newer to our group and some of the people in our group. So if you wouldn't mind, just take a moment, just kind of introduce yourself to everybody, let them know who you are, what you're about, and kind of what you're up to.
Yeah, for sure. So Joe and I met through some mutual friends when I was living in Austin, Texas, and it was kind of like not only do we both have red hair, but they were like, "You guys seem a lot alike, and you guys should meet each other." I also love that intro, the Jolly Ginger. I'm not sure how you worded that, but I'll probably give that to Joe a few more times throughout our lives. So that's how I met Joe, is just in Austin, a person that was like, man, you guys are a lot alike. You should probably meet. You have similar interests. You guys both seem like entrepreneurs and hustlers, which are always the coolest connection when someone's like, man, you got to meet my friend. You kind of remind me of my friend. You got to meet my friend. I love introductions like that. So that's how I met Joe. But to tell you a little bit about myself, so I grew up in Idaho. I grew up just outside of Idaho Falls, Idaho, in a town of just like 3,000 or 4,000. I grew up on a ranch, like raising horses and cows, and I knew at a very, very young age that I didn't want to be on the farm. I always felt pulled to like bigger cities. I never got to do any traveling, but I had this vision of like what California looked like as a kid from Idaho. And so I was like, I definitely got to make it out to California at some point in time. So played sports throughout high school. I took a sports marketing class when I was a sophomore, and found I'm a very competitive athlete, and I played sports up until I graduated high school, and I really saw that first sports marketing class gave me the intro into like this combination of like the sports world and the marketing world, and so that was my first taste into marketing. Fast forward, I moved to San Francisco. I like literally sold everything that I owned and moved to San Francisco because I had a Facebook connection that posted he had an extra room in California and he was moving for a job. So I was like, screw it, I'm going to sell everything and move to California. Wound up getting a job at a software company. I was a digital marketing manager for a software company in the Bay Area. Started Social Hustle, which is my digital marketing agency. That was in 2015 that we founded Social Hustle. So we're going on almost 10 years now. And then I've kind of dabbled into a couple other businesses and things just through Social Hustle and having that engine to be able to market different businesses. So I'm an entrepreneur. My main focus is helping businesses grow, helping businesses generate leads, sell products online. And then I have a few other interests like the short-term rental company that Joe and I worked with on the side. And that's where we actually help investors and short-term rental investors make the most out of their investment on Airbnb.
I love
So
it.
I like it.
What's a weekly win? What you got?
Man, my weekly win, we had the entire leadership team from Social Hustle come out to Scottsdale this last weekend, and we had our 2024 like planning summit, you could call it, and it just went like phenomenal. We covered a lot of ground. I think planning is very, very, very important, and we really got ahead of the curve this year and had a nice agenda that we were able to go through. So that big win is that we're planning for 2024, and it's going to be a good year for us, and I can already tell just because of the preparedness that we're going into the year. So that planning session is definitely my biggest win. I'm going to relocate right here. I'm plugging my laptop, but so now I live just outside Phoenix, Arizona. I have an Airbnb there that I spend most of my time. I also spend a lot of time in Idaho just because that's where our headquarters are at for Social Hustle. And right now I'm literally in a hotel room driving up to Idaho for the holidays to see my family.
Very cool,
man. I think what you said is so important. I think, it's like a lot of people don't start planning for the new year until the new year's already here, right? And I love that you said that. And I think, there's even it's the importance of having the leadership involved in that as well. I think it's a lot of times you can get your personal goals kind of knocked out pretty quick, right? But it's like, hey, it's not now. Again, if you're a one man, one woman shop, I get that, right? But ultimately, again, making sure your team's involved. That's actually something that we're going to be doing this week as well. And but at the same time, right? It's still like it's the end of the year, right? And we're still trying to sell, and we're still trying to hit those year-end goals that we set out for last December, right, or November, or whatever. Or maybe it was January. Hell, maybe it was March when you set that goal. But I love that where it's we have to make sure that we're spending time, guys. If you haven't, make sure you're spending time this month to really kind of iron some of that stuff out, really flesh it out, right? And then now, again, I think it's important because now the whole team knows the vision and what we're trying to achieve. And I think if you're starting the new year like that, I mean, that's how you start the new year, right? That's where you can really go out and find success.
We reverse engineered it this year. We in preface to the meetings that we had this last weekend, we went to each one of our employees, and there's probably 22 employees at Social Hustle. And I went to each employee during our team meeting, and I said, I need you guys to get with your leadership team, get with your managers and tell them what your goals are for 2024. Are you trying to buy a house? Are you trying to save $50,000? Are you trying to start a side hustle? Are you trying to get more educated and experienced in this area or in that area? And once we knew what our team members were trying to accomplish for the year, we could then attach our goals and then the incentives for those goals to align with our employees' goals. So it's like, if our employees hit their goals, then that means that department is going to hit its goals, and then that means the company is going to hit its goals, rather than saying, okay, what are the company's goals first? And I think that was like a fundamental shift this year, where now I can already feel that our employees are like more excited about what we're going to do next year. They feel like there's no longer like, and where this started was we have a wins chat at the company, and I'm sure you guys have things that are similar. And in the wins chat, it's always about the company. We just signed this big new client. We just finally landed this, big e-commerce company that we've been working with, or we landed Credit.com this year as a client, which was like this massive win for us. And I'm sitting there and I'm like, how excited would I be all year if I was sitting in that wins chat and it's just like the company's crushing it, the company's crushing it, the company's crushing it. And you guys know, as people in business, like the wins are one thing, all the expenses that go into those wins and, how profitable you can actually be is something that is always still to be figured out. But a lot of our employees or team members only see those big wins. They don't see the other stuff. And also, like, we all struggle throughout our lives. We all have financial woes. We all are have shortcomings, and we all are still reaching for our goals. And so I put myself in that mindset of like somebody who's probably not making as much money as they want, someone who like isn't quite to the place where they want to be at yet they're seeing this wins chat about the company that's just always doing so well. So we wanted to flip that. We really, really wanted to flip that this year and say, okay, like, what do you guys want out of the year? And then let's put you in a position at Social Hustle financially or, career wise. It's going to make sure that you accomplish those goals. And then now I feel like we're going to have more camaraderie, and as a group, we're all going to feel a little bit better as we reach our goals and reach our destinations.
Yeah, I love that, dude. That's good. Well, so go ahead, Tony. You go.
Ask, what were you studying or doing in the sports marketing world?
So I was literally a sophomore in high school when I took that class.
Okay.
It was just like preemptive to try and figure out what you want as a career path.
Okay.
So it was light, but from 8 years old to 17 years old, if you would have asked me what I'm going to be when I grow up, I would have told you I was going to play in the NBA.
Right.
Like I was that kid, in Idaho, where I'd have to use the snow shovel to clear the basketball court to be able to shoot hoops. And I was like committed, like my mom will tell you, I wanted to even shave my head at one point so I could look more like Michael Jordan, was what I told my mom. And, she, as any good mother would, broke it to me as sweet as she could, that no matter how well I shaved my head, I'm still probably not going to look like Mike. And so, as I get to high school and I'm like, okay, there's the reality of like coming from an extremely small town and not having the recruitment and seeing, okay, maybe I'm not as big and as tall as I would need to be to play in the NBA.
Mm-hmm.
And that was the first time I saw kind of the crossing of those worlds, and it shifted from I want to play for the Lakers to be like a sports marketer for the Lakers and come up with the halftime shows and all the official partnerships. Right. That really, really intrigued me. To the point where we're still trying to get back into or not, I won't even say back into it because we never really did any sports marketing per se. We have clients that are partnered with the NBA and the MLB and the NFL. One of our clients is the official jewelry partner of all of this, the sports network. So if you want a Lakers pendant or you want a Yankees pendant, you have to get it from this client, and the brand is called GLD. So I'm trying to get back into where with the expansion of the NIL, I feel like there's maybe an opportunity now for like a marketing agency to work with, collegiate athletes, professional athletes, with this NIL, rule that's been put in place. So I'm still chasing down that dream of making money through sports, but right now it's just hard work.
Smart.
I like it.
Smart.
I like it.
So then take us back, right? So obviously, you didn't just start Social Hustle and then have a leadership team and managers and employees overnight, right? You're saying, hey, we're 8-9 years into this thing. Take us back to when it first started, right? Because again, y'all, we're living you guys hear me say it all the time. We are living in a digital world, right? And we all know that. And we were just talking about it with Ellen, David, and Trista, was that, hey, sales is great, but if you don't know how to market and get yourself out there and get in front of people, right, then there's no point to being the best salesperson ever because you ain't got nobody to sell, right? So marketing is like, that is the key, especially, and again, Dalin, I know obviously we're insurance specific, but this applies to anything that we're doing. But so anything that Dalin kind of goes through this, guys, he may be talking about other businesses, other structures, but it's digital marketing, right? And it's about how to strategically get in front of these. So, but Dalin, take us back. Okay, hey, you know what? I was doing this software company thing, and then we're going to kind of start up Social Hustle. And then what did it look like to basically start a digital marketing agency from the ground up?
Yep. So I graduated high school, and I spent a summer knocking doors. That I kind of chalk up to like the majority of my original like sales experience. You spend one summer knocking doors, like you'll learn a lot about sales. It's like probably one of the worst summers of my life, to be honest with you. It was just I was broke all summer. And and struggled on the doors, and it wasn't fun. And I consider myself a salesperson, but also I don't like to sell something someone doesn't need or doesn't want. When I've gained that luxury with Social Hustle now, where people come to us for our business, and we're not trying to force it down their throats. And I'm sure you guys appreciate that as well, right? When you have a warm lead that comes in, and you can cultivate warm relationships and referrals versus someone that feels like you're trying to sell them something and doesn't see the benefit, I think is maybe like the biggest thing, where they feel like you're just trying to sell them. You're just trying to, get some money and get out of there. And really you have something that's valuable for them and something that can help them. And so that was like a frustrating aspect of sales that I really didn't want to be in. Right. And like, honestly, it just requires good marketing to not be in that part of the sales world. So I moved back to Idaho and actually got a job cold calling sales for a digital marketing agency that had just started in Idaho. And it was like 300 calls a day or 300 minutes, don't even hang the phone up, trying to get conversations. This was so long ago that I was trying to convince business owners why they needed a website. I kid you not. I would call people up and they would say, hey, we're good. We're in the yellow pages. We're in the phone book. You can find us. I don't think we're going to need a website. We're not interested in anything social media marketing. I think Facebook is just like a fad. So like I've been in it for a while, so long now that there's no business now that doesn't feel like they could, get a benefit from a website. But quite literally back in the day, I just remember phone call after phone call of I don't need a website. So I did that for about a year. I really, in order to sell digital marketing, you have to understand it. This company was not extraordinary at the digital marketing that they offered or the training that they gave me. So a lot of it was just kind of like self-taught. And then that Facebook post happened. This kid that I had been to a bonfire at one point in time and met him. His name was Andrew, and he posts on Facebook and he says, hey, I just got a job in California. They're paying for my housing, so I have an extra room. Does anyone want to move with me? And I was like, now's my shot. So I sold everything I had. I'd been kicked out of my parents' house just for partying and being like a little bit of a reckless 18-year-old. So I was living on my own. And so I sold my couches. I sold like the art on the walls, literally like everything I possibly could. Moved to California, moved to the Bay Area. And I had been to Long Beach at one point in time, and like in the Los Angeles area on the beaches. And when I moved to San Francisco, I assumed the beaches were the same way. Like I thought I was moving to Southern California. I was expecting, like Malibu and, everyone on the beaches and what I had seen, on TV. And, I moved to San Francisco in like February, and it was like 42 degrees on the beach, like anybody swimming was in a wetsuit, and the people were few and far in between. So the Northern California wasn't exactly what I thought it was going to be, but I fell in love with the Bay Area where I moved to. I ended up living there for almost 8 years. So I never moved back to Idaho. Andrew actually moved back like 2 or 3 weeks later. And if I ever see him again, I'll give him some shit for it. But he literally was like, this is too tough. I'm out of here. So that's a whole other story of like figuring out a living situation, living out of a hotel. Like it was, I had posted on Facebook that I was moving to California and see you guys later, And so I was like, I'm committed now. I'm not,
right.
I'm not moving back to Idaho. Are you kidding me, man? I'll be homeless in California before I'm going to go back. So I ended up with just through good connections, mutual connections, someone that I had done a little bit of work with, in the past through that other marketing agency, was like, hey, I hear you're in California. We were like friends on LinkedIn. He was like, I think I live nearby you. Let me take you out to dinner. And this individual, his name's Kent Kilmer. He ends up being like, one of like the greatest mentors that I've had in my life, and really provided me an opportunity at this software company that I didn't qualify for. I didn't have a college degree. I didn't have enough years of experience, but he allowed me into the interview process after working with him. And so then I'm working at the software company, but I have always known that I would be an entrepreneur. I'd have some of my, I'd have my own businesses. I was the kid in like 8th grade. I got suspended for burning CDs off LimeWire and selling them in the hallways.
Yeah.
True hustler, you definitely went through a generation where you were selling CDs,
CDs. So, with your custom I had a little custom dollar sign on mine, so everybody knew it was Joe's.
I had the label maker. My mom took me to Staples. I got a label maker. I would put a track list on it. And then I'll never forget Miss Bowman, the keyboard teacher to teach you how to do to do typing. Mm-hmm. She pulled me to the hallway one day and she, broke down the laws for me and how what I was doing was so illegal and pirating. It didn't matter to me. I had like 50 extra bucks a week. I was rolling in like the PB&Js around lunchtime, and I was never hungry.
The Uncrustables.
So, I was like, suspend me. I'm eating good. So that was I was very entrepreneurial. My parents are entrepreneurial. They have their own businesses in construction and real estate and land development. And I just grew up in that environment of like, if you want to make money, then you're going to have to like put your head down and work, and you're going to have to like, you're going to have to put some effort towards it. Nothing will be handed to you. And I saw that mentality through my businesses or through my parents and their businesses and things of that nature. So I'm working at this software company. And to me, I chalked this era of my life up to like college, basically. I got 3 or 4 years at this software company. They're a 250 person company. I was the digital marketing manager. Again, Kent, the CMO at that time, like really gave me an opportunity and put me into a place where like it was like sink or swim. Like the very first day there, I remember just being like, I am in over my head. Like these guys are gonna figure me out. They're gonna know that I don't know what I'm doing, and I've got probably 8 days at this place before they realize they made a mistake. And so I ended up being there for close to 4 years. 2 or 3 years into that job at that software company, I met my now business partner, Chris. He was the manager of the Google Ads account at that agency. And it was my job at the software company to manage all the agencies that we work with. And I was just extremely impressed with Chris. He was by far the most proactive, on the ball, like transparent as well. Like in our industry, there's a lot of individuals or agencies that may be trying to paint the picture a little different than it is. And like Chris will tell you almost in a very cold way if shit is not working and needs to be improved, or if it won't work, and it's like, it's a strength that he has of being able to identify that and call that out. And it's really just to like do the best in the future, right? If you don't call those things out when you see them, and we all have those opportunities where like, I don't know if this is going the way that I think that it should, and it's at that moment where you got to speak up and be like, I think this isn't going to work, and sometimes it's tough.
Don't push it under the rug.
Right. Don't push it under the rug. Chris and I have learned over the years, like what has caused the most turmoil are things that we could have called like months before. Right. We literally saw it coming. We felt some type of way. An email was sent and it was like, that kind of, pissed me off a little bit, but I'm not going to say anything about it. Or, whatever the case may be, I feel like we all get that gut feeling at times where like, 6 days or 6 months later, we're like, shit, I should have said something about that when I felt that type of way. And so definitely like, a life lesson. I love how Chris is that way. It's helped me as well in areas of improvement. So I'm like, hey man, I've got this dream. I'm starting this digital marketing company on the side. At that point in time, also, I had messaged this photographer on Instagram he was Wiz Khalifa's photographer, and he had just started a jewelry company, and he was literally just like selling jewelry out of the trunk of his car. And I said, hey man, I'm starting a digital marketing agency. You're going to need a company to be able to run like the Google ads. I've got a lot of experience doing this. Let us run your Google ads for you. And And at the same time, I'm telling Chris, I've got clients and I need you to come on and help me manage these clients. And I'm telling these hopeful clients, I've got a team of people ready to do this work for you. And I'm like, it's the chicken before the egg. I'm like, which one of these people are going to say yes first and then help me get, close down the other. And so I brought in Chris. We actually brought on that original contact as a client, which now has turned into one of our, that client has done over 100 million in sales this year. And just, one of the clients through our portfolio. So
wow,
this is, that's a case study for the ages. There's a lot of other, accounts we had. I mentioned the jewelry company earlier. They're doing phenomenally well, 8-9 years later. There's been quite a few stories like that at Social Hustle. And so
stay there on the jewelry company, because I mean, they're in Forbes, and that's obviously, again, you guys have been a huge piece of that, right?
Yeah.
So let's get specific. Where do you think, what made y'all different? What made you, or I guess what helped them because of the services? Go through that. What are the services you provided you think that can take somebody to the next level?
Yeah. So first I'll say that there's, I've got to give credit to all of our clients with the growth that they have had, because there's certainly factors within our control as a marketing agency. And there are factors out of our control, which we have gotten better over. We have gotten better over the years of further identifying it for our clients. You need to have these things in order to have success. Mm-hmm. You should not be spending $25,000 a month on Facebook ads if you don't have any sort of email marketing going or SMS marketing going, right? And you guys have probably seen the benefits that come from having that nurturing stream going, right? Can you do it? Sure. But you're not going to make the most of your money if you don't have some of those other down the stream systems in place to be able to make the most of that money that you're spending within your Facebook ads. So all of our clients need to get the credit that they are due. It certainly takes a team. If you're going to get up to, even $1 million in revenue, or $10 million in revenue, or 50 or 100, you've got to have individuals there that are helping you. The systems and the processes need to be there. And so we manage and execute the best at what we do, but it certainly is not all it takes for these, some of these companies to get where they need to go. So, and then as far as Social Hustle and our services, when Chris and I first started, all we offered was Google Ads management for service-based businesses. So if you wanted to generate leads in Google, we were your specialty, and we would even pitch it as this is the only thing we do. We are the professionals at this. This is our niche. This is what we stick to. But as we started to scale and grow a lot of those brands, they would come back to us and say, hey, we also need some website development. Hey, we are considering doing Facebook or Instagram ads. Do you guys do that? We even had one client where there's a time and place, I can't even remember the year now, where it was iOS 14 with Facebook that really they started making data a lot harder to read. And as advertisers, we weren't being as efficient as Facebook as we had previously. And a lot of our clients started looking for new networks to be able to find dollars in. And this was probably 4 years ago. And we started researching TikTok for one of our clients. And this was middle of the year. And we're hey, we think TikTok might be able to replace some of this revenue that you guys were, that you would have lost through Facebook. And they ended up doing $7 million in TikTok in the last quarter of the year, just because they were an early adopter. And this was an e-commerce company. So we've expanded our services because our portfolio of clients has asked for it. We work with a few private equity firms and some VCs that, we work within their portfolio. They will come to us because they know that we're really good at other things that they need, like Google ads or Facebook ads, or they'll come to us for just that honest opinion of what should we actually be doing. So, you had a question there of what makes us different. I would say just our ability to really call out, we're not going to take your money and for something that we feel is in 3 or 4 months not going to work and you're going to leave. We don't have any contracts at Social Hustle, which is incredible, different than any of our competitors. If you want to take us on for Google ads, Facebook ads, Instagram ads, TikTok ads, whatever, it's a 30-day out. And we've been doing that for 9 years. So if we don't perform, we are a performance-based marketing agency. No one is paying us without clear, if there isn't clear visibility that we are making you more money than you're paying us, then you will fire us. Right. And we make that very, very clear at the beginning, because in order for us to have success, we have to have those metrics at the surface level showing you, we're pay us that invoice for last month because we're this is working. We're showing you a return on your ad spend, a return on your investment. And let's keep moving forward. So the transparency at the very, very beginning to say, hey, you need to spend $12,000, not $3,000. And if you're not ready to spend that $12,000, here's some other areas that you can invest in to get ready for this, and not taking on, brands or clients or businesses that don't have all of those boxes checked. And in most of the cases, we will help them get those boxes checked so that they're ready for us. We like to think of ourselves as a doctor, and we have our specialty and our expertise. You can come in and we're going to diagnose what's going on and prescribe you a solution for that. And then we can probably fill that solution, or we could execute on that in most cases. But if we can't, then, we have specific partners that can help you out with that.
Is it all e-commerce, or are you pretty diverse on the type of businesses that you can work with?
Yeah, we're probably 50-50 now. For like TikTok ads, we're really, really good at service-based, like lead gen. Home Serve is one of our clients on the TikTok lead gen side. Same with like credit.com or Lexington Law and Progression. They're kind of all part of the same like credit monitoring family. So those are all massive like lead gen style brands. We also have like SEP, which is a solar company that they use TikTok for recruiting. So the TikTok side, where I feel like most people think is like an influencer trying to sell some skincare, actually is incredibly beneficial for lead gen. It takes a big budget, to be able to hire the creators to help you get your message, to actually get the content created, to spend the money within the platform, to get to statistical significance and exit like the learning phases that these platforms have for you to be able to actually like, as an agency, we call it take the training wheels off. We can only do so much on an account that's learning. So TikTok is the opportunity and the potential within TikTok for lead gen is like by far the biggest opportunity for service-based businesses right now. It is just this like crazy complex monster that you have to understand. And again, spend like most of our clients, we recommend they start out an initial budget for TikTok is like $25K a month or $30K a month for lead gen. And that's literally just, you have different parts of a funnel that we're all familiar with, and we've got to put enough money in each part of the funnel to put enough of the audience through the funnel to get enough actions to happen for the algorithm and the learnings to actually kick into place. Training wheels come off. We can optimize an account. That number in relation to like Google is like $5,000, or $3,500 or something for us to get to statistical significance. We don't need the creators. We don't need all of that. All of the content. It's, a mostly search-based platform. So,
stay there real quick. Because I think, so we have a lot of people, I think, within the group that are either doing Google ads, and whether I say doing them, they may be working, they may not be, who knows? It's Google ads, I think, is very prominent within our space. So to you, like, what makes a Google ad work? Like, what is that?
Yeah, I'll cater the information. I know there's a lot of like, the insurance agencies and things within the group. So let me cater some of the information I'm talking about to those. So Google Ads has got some pros and cons. You have the highest intent, the highest quality of lead you could ask for. Someone just went and said, I need homeowners insurance in Austin, Texas. And it's like, okay, sick. That's exactly the person I want to be talking to. The cons would be there's a limited amount of search volume. And right now I'm talking about just the Google search network, because there are multiple networks within Google. You actually advertise on YouTube through Google Ads. You have the display network in Google Ads, which are just static ads in most cases, kind of like follow you around the web. You have the shopping network within Google Ads for e-commerce companies, and you also have the search network. So the search network is what most people are most familiar with. That's where you go to Google, you search for something, the map comes up, or just a text a result comes up, and you click on one of the results. For most agents, I bet they will find that the clicks within Google Ads are too expensive. If you're trying to go after homeowners insurance, Austin, Texas, well, like, so is State Farm, so are these companies that are willing to lose thousands of dollars to bring on someone in your guys' industry. And that's where you hop into a fight that you just can't win in Google Ads. You have people that are willing to acquire clients and business for hundreds, if not thousands of dollars more than you're willing to acquire business for. So that's where the Google search network would probably not be the most fruitful if it has not been like really, really optimized and fine tuned to like just go after the low hanging fruit. The name of the game with Google Ads is finding those clicks for as cheap as you possibly can, because you're only going to convert 2 to 3 to 4% of those clicks that come to your website. So if it costs, $5 a click in Google for a homeowner's insurance keyword, and you have to get 100 of them to get, maybe 1 or 2 conversions, well, you're now $5,000 in, and hopefully have signed a policy or 2. And you're like, holy shit, I need this person to stay for a very long time. I'm going to get my money back here. You have some other options, though, within the Google Ad network. So you have, like I mentioned, the video network, where I feel like for a lot of agents that are comfortable in front of the camera, you guys are in a relationship-based industry. I do not use, Joe has the policy on some of my assets. And then also I have a friend from back home who I've rented an office from, and he helps me with some of my stuff in Idaho. Like, it's a relationship-based industry.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to work with Jake from State Farm. I don't want to call, I want to be able to text Joe and be like, yo, I sold the Jeep. You can take that policy off it. And Joe's like, got you, So I feel like on the platforms that individuals, personal brands can leverage video and start to introduce themselves and have a personality, and and wear a Dodgers cap, and the Dodgers fans are gonna be like, I love Dodgers and I need home insurance. I want this guy, Joe, Mackenzie was like, Mackenzie looked at your background and she was like, are those all is that all basketball stuff? And I'm like, yeah, that's why Joe's my agent. I'm like, that's Kobe Bryant.
It's Kobe, baby. Yeah.
Kidding me, because she's kind of she was like, what's with all the sports stuff, and I'm like, well, he sells to guys like me, and I think that's sick back there, and so that's why I want to do business with Joe. And I would say in 9 times out of 10, whether it's conscious or not, you're working with someone because the vibe is right.
Yes.
The only way to scale the vibe is on social media. You can only meet so many people. I mean, the other thing would be Tony Robbins lets you on stage. Right. A second to that is social media. There's no other way that you can scale, yourself the way you can with social media and with just video in general, I'll say. So you have YouTube shorts that can be boosted and you can put spend behind. You have an actual YouTube channel that you can run ads behind and you can boost. You have the display ads within Google, where in most of these networks, you have the ability to target people for the first time. So let's say for YouTube Shorts, I only want to, anyone who lives in Indiana and, is in the, top 20% of income earners. And I want to make sure they see my video. But also you can use these networks to remarket to people who have already been on your website. So if you have a billboard, you have a booth somewhere, you're at a conference, you're putting out flyers and print material, all of those people that visit your website now should be pixeled, and you should be able to remarket to them in the future and try and make the most out of squeeze the most out of the fruit. So in any of these networks, you can show people your ads for the first time, or you could actually be remarketing to them, which is usually a much better way to spend your dollar. It's just limited by the amount of people that have actually visited your website. People are like, why don't we spend all of our money in remarketing? Well, it's you're only getting 1,500 people to your website a month. So there's not very many people that we can remarket to.
Right.
So Google Ads would be tough just because on that search-based network, you're not able to show some personality. You're not able to have any shot of that first impression. It's literally just all based on a search ad, and you're competing against the giants. But any network or any platform that allows you to show your face, talk, short form video, organic social media, Facebook ads, Instagram ads, TikTok ads, YouTube, that I feel gives personal brands and smaller agencies a fighting chance.
Talk about the power of branding, right? I mean, you're literally you're talking about me and this, I'm not even a Dodgers fan, but this freaking brand, dude, just got me, right? And now I'm a Dodgers fan, and I have been for years because of the brand. So the brand is important, right? Or even I'm sitting here pointing at my hat, you guys, you can probably see the bats a little, maybe not. But a lot of people know I'm involved in the slow pitch softball community. We have tournament teams and this, and we actually, one of our teams just won the championship this past weekend. But it's if somebody sees Easton, they're like, oh, damn, right? Softball, right? It's so funny. We're like, oh, man, you saw baseball, softball? What's that? And it instantly, like you said, it's just an instant conversation starter. Talk about the power of brand, right? It's hey, so if I'm trying to scale the vibe, how important is we'll call it the company brand versus the personal brand, or how do you blend the two? Maybe break down some of that.
Yeah. So first, I feel like, this probably isn't new information for anyone, but like people want to buy from people. They don't want to buy from companies. It's much easier to grow a social media page of a personal individual than it is a company. If Joe posts something or Redwood Agency posts something, I am much more likely, it's just human nature, I'm going to interact with Joe's stuff because he's a human, right? And so you're kind of fighting an uphill battle, like with both trying to grow a personal brand and a company brand on social media. It's extremely difficult. So I'm not going to say one's easy and one's not, but it's certainly harder to build the brand of a company first than it is to build the brand of an individual. And we see this through fitness apparel and the fitness industry. There is no, like Nike and Adidas are losing massive amounts of market share to YouTubers. They are, when you think of Christian Guzman or Ben Francis from Gymshark, like these massive brands, even the ones that don't have one individual, they've got 1,000. Any supplement company has got like this army of individuals out marketing for them.
Right.
And that is them saying it's easier for humans to sell to humans. Like we're tired of just spending millions of dollars on our own brand, trying to push this down and create this perfect message when instead we can have humans send this message and people are going to listen to it at a lower dollar. So I would first say that your personal brand is going to be the most cost effective way initially to be able to start to grow revenue for your business. It was this way with Social Hustle. We didn't even post on our own social media for the first 5, 6, 7 years of the Social Hustle page. Like it was just Dalin, and I was traveling the world and I was working and I was trying to inspire businesses to invest into their business and be able to then retire essentially, like you're stuck in your business, you need help, you need to hire a team to help you grow and scale, and then like go chill on a hammock while we bring money in for you. And so we were able to, I was able to create relationships in bars and at restaurants and at events and festivals that have now turned into clients because they tapped in on social media. And I've just, for the last, like literally at this point, like I still have people that are like, man, I remember like 10 years ago, you were talking about this shit and like, you're still doing that, And I'm like, oh yeah, I'm still doing, like, I'm still just doing the same thing. I'm still talking about the same thing. I'm posting as often as I can. I don't have any sort of like, crazy. I think I'm at like 10K or something on Instagram. So it's not anything wild, but it certainly has cultivated business. And still to this day, that personal brand that I have built was much easier than building the Social Hustle brand initially. But we're making a big shift this year. Like we've shifted away from Dalin being able to inspire someone at a bar to now we're trying to work with businesses that have, $50,000, $100,000 a month to spend in ad spend because we've, elevated our offering and things like that. So when it comes to branding, go ahead.
I love that you said that though, because it's like, you're still doing that. It's like, well, hell yeah, I am, dude. And it kind of goes to what Tony, you say a lot, man. It's like that long obedience in one direction. Like, dude, why would I stop?
Yeah.
Right.
Why would I do anything different? It's working.
Right.
Yep. So for branding, your personal brand is going to be easier to get eyes and more affordable to get eyes and views and followers to begin with. Don't be afraid to actually be yourself when it comes to being your brand. I'm a massive proponent of you're not going to catch me in most cases with like a sport coat and a button-up shirt at a client meeting. We're going to wear something I'm going to wear something a little bit different. I'm going to stand out. I'm going to be myself. Like I'm wearing camo pants right now that have like a little like leopard print going down on the inside of them at a hotel. Like it's just like stuff that I like to wear, but also it makes Social Hustle stand out. It's part of our brand. Like we hear constantly that we're like the cool company to work with. Like, man, we really like you guys. We have this one guy said, he asked me if I'd ever heard of the train test. And the train test is would I want to sit next to this person on the train for 30 or 45 minutes, or would I not want to sit next to this person on the train for 30 or 45 minutes? And he's like, I can tell you that like everyone I've worked with at Social Hustle, like I would sit next to you guys on the train. And I think it's the equivalent of the drinkers, like, would I have a beer with this guy? Like as he's giving me this thing, and I'm like, no, this has already been said. It's like, well, but I don't know, maybe he doesn't drink. But the train test is another way to say it. And, I think it's because we attract what we are. If I were to wear a freshly pressed white button up and a sport coat and slacks, and it's just not me necessarily, and I wouldn't act the way that I act, I would attract people that are more of that. And we would start to get talking, and it would be clear that we're like, two different individuals with two different, and I think Joe is this way, right? Like in all the content I see from you, Joe, you are like, you're yourself. You're wearing jerseys. You're like,
I'm actually wearing sleeves today. It's
like,
Andy Elliott.
I've seen you in a tank top, and I'm like, respect, like if someone has a problem with that, then like they're going to be a problem in business. They're going to be a problem down the road. If they don't like something about the way that you are, they're not attracted to it, it turns them off, like that eventually will come out. If you tried to hide that or you tried to be something differently, that eventually will come out and cause a problem. And so for us, it's like being ourselves. Last night I was listening to a podcast, the How to Take Over the World podcast, and Steve Jobs and Julius Caesar were both very popular they had a very, very subtle difference in the way that they dressed. So Julius Caesar, like in his role, and this was at like 12 a.m., it was like midnight last night as I was driving to this hotel. So it's a little fuzzy, but there's a specific type of tanga that like they were supposed to wear when he was in his position. And he actually, and it's a short sleeve, and he actually wore like a longer sleeve just to stand out as like an individual within everyone that was there. And it was this thing, it like technically wasn't allowed, but he also was like such a badass that like nobody like said anything to him. But also it was like the word and the message about him like multiplied because people could refer to him as like the one with like the longer sleeves. And it was literally like something that simple that helped him become more noticed, more talked about, standing out. Steve Jobs with, his like little mock neck black sweater that he just like always wore, for him, it was probably just like OCD, ADHD type of stuff. But like there's these small examples of like people just being themselves or standing out in a slight way, trying to just be a little bit different and obviously still being themselves, and they paid massive dividends for them, obviously, in those two cases.
Absolutely. Right. Absolutely. We were talking about this yesterday. I'm standing with John Wetmore, who Joe knows. He's a big life insurance producer. And I can't remember the other gentleman's name off the top of my head, but he's the guy that runs Your Family Bank, also a big-time producer. And two completely different worlds, right? And we were kind of talking about him. This guy is older, likes to wear the blue blazer, right, with the button down and the nice loafers. John Wetmore, probably brings out about $4 million a year in his own pocket. He's wearing a T-shirt, sweats, and some sneakers at the event. But that's him. Like, that's totally his style. And then, of course, we all made a joke about Joe. It's like, shit, we can't even get Joe to wear pants, much less, a pair of sweats or something. Like, he's wearing the athletic shorts and Jordans everywhere we go.
I love that we live in a time where that's possible, though. Because,
absolutely.
I grew up. My dad was. I wanted a tattoo when I turned 18 that said "relentless." I was like, I knew that from like 16 to 18, and my dad was like, "No way." And I also wanted to have long hair, and my dad was like, "You're just gonna make it so much more difficult on yourself in life if you don't just like get in line, And I remember just thinking like, he's right, obviously. So let me start there and be like, he was right at that point in time. If I was going to make it way more difficult on myself to have tattoos or to, have long hair and like, not just like, they're big on hard work and just like, put your head down and work hard and like, then life will pay off for you. And I was like, but I also want to be myself. I also want to have tattoos and do right by people. And I want to like have fun while at the same time, like, show up on Monday, So there was a time in my life where I made it more difficult on myself. I feel like, 18, 19, 20, I was just like going against the grain, I think, as like most young men are. But I do feel like as a society, we really have reached the point with social media and with our ability to connect to so many people to be whoever we want to be, and like, it's a fine line, Joe. I'm sure you still also like you want to make like sure your reflection with like Redwood and like the people that you work with. Like that's something also that I consider a long time. Like my business partner is the sport coat. Like he loves dressing up and he looks good doing it, but like we'll pull up to the meeting, we'll both look good. But I'm in like streetwear and a nice jacket, and he's in like some loafers and and like we're a great 1-2. But also I have I've made sure that like I don't push the boundaries too far. And I'm also a reflection of like the people that I work with. And so I do think that there's like, there's a balance to it, but I absolutely love the fact that like Joe can wear shorts now somewhere, or this guy's wearing sweats.
Well, it's funny. It didn't.
It's not the case.
And it didn't start that way. It's funny. It was, and there were still some conferences where it's like, hey, like, we need you to be suited up on stage type thing, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it's kind of funny. It's like how I'm not really going to those anymore. But look, Dalin's getting ready to get kicked out of that hotel.
Yep.
But no, I think, well, real quick here, and we'll wrap up on this. I want to ask you the question of quality. So we're talking about video and really, again, putting ourselves out there, being ourselves. And I think that's 100% spot on. That's important. I think a lot of people don't do that because of the quality of their content that they think that they can put out there. Right. So maybe talk a little bit about that. Obviously now what you're doing with Social Hustle, right? And just the quality, the quality is obviously there for you guys, right? But when you're talking about to an individual, when it comes to, hey man, just put out content. I think so many people are like, well, no, like, because my phone camera sucks or this, like there's probably a list of 1,000 excuses as to why people don't do it. But talk about maybe the importance of the quality.
Yep.
Right. Maybe it's audio, maybe it's picture. What is it that you're finding is really working? And let's maybe start on the video side. Because I think right now video marketing on the digital marketing, that's where you need to be playing, right? As you were saying earlier. So talk a little bit about that.
So it's a complex answer, but I will say it first depends on the platform. And it also depends on at what point in the funnel are you serving up this content. So if this is a piece of content meant to gain attention, meant to attract new followers, maybe it's a little bit more casual, maybe it's a little bit more friendly. It's you walking outside, it's a selfie style. We have clients and we just finished Black Friday, Cyber Monday. There are brands that spent millions of dollars in content over that weekend that they intentionally wanted to be not polished, that they intentionally wanted to seem friendly and raw and not an advertisement. And that is Social Hustle's probably spent over $100,000 in content creation equipment. And 9 out of 10 times now, if we go to shoot something for social media, we are using an iPhone. Like it makes me sick that we like literally
we spent that much,
invested so much money into this thing that now has turned into like, how can we make the most like TikTok-y, friendly, casual video? Then the next step would be I'm creating a piece of content for people that already know about me. I'm posting it to a platform like LinkedIn. I'm posting it to my Facebook group. And that content may be a little bit more polished. Now you're no longer trying to be just friends. You're maybe now trying to do business with them. And so we get a little bit more into something that's a little bit more structured and a little bit more professional. So I'll say that, right? There's that balance. Am I trying to like gain attention and gain new followers and make new friends? Because if that's the case, you wouldn't come into a bar and just start shaking everyone's hand and be overly official. You'd be more friendly. So same thing with your content, and then do not shy away. Do not think that it is not good enough. What your content needs to reflect is effort. Is that you put effort into making this piece of content. You put effort into the thought that went into behind it, what you're saying throughout the video, the structure of the video. As long as you can tell that you put some thought and some effort behind this video, even if it's not perfect, you're going to get a pass. People are not going to care. And then especially if it's like their first connection into you. But I will always say, if you can make a higher quality and you have a great process to be able to do that, do it. But don't shy away from just posting something that's not perfect. It might actually perform better than something that's a little bit more polished.
Right. I love that, dude. I love that. Well, dude, as we wrap up, feel free if you want, actually kind of share what the Hella Airbnb is, what that course is and everything. Oh, look, he's really got to go.
Yep. Okay. So I'll be really quick. I'll wrap up. So very last thing.
And let people know how to reach out to you as well.
For sure. So Social Hustle is socialhustle.com. You can find me on Instagram at Hella Casual. And then my latest venture that I've been working on with Joe is Hella Properties, and that's where we help real estate investors get started on Airbnb. So if you have people interested, they're comparing, if I were to buy this house and how much would insurance be, Hella Properties is someone who could help out and show them how much money they can make on Airbnb. So we have an online educational platform that you can sign up for. And then we also have management services where we'll virtually manage your Airbnb for you. And that is hella.properties. We haven't launched yet. You can find us on Instagram at Hella Properties. Probably be about a week, and that will all be live.
Dude.
Awesome.
Love it.
Good stuff. Man,
All right,
thank you so much for stopping by with us.
Yeah,
we
for sure.
appreciate you taking time to chat with us, man. Thank you so much.
For sure. All right.
Keep doing your thing, and we'll see you hopefully when we're in Arizona sometime.
Yeah, come on down.
You got it,
All right, bro.
See you guys.
All right. Appreciate you, brother. Yep. Later. Man.